going to add a little meat down here on the chin. Not only will that just give me more depth, but it'll also, by adding that down here, it will create the illusion that the face is narrower without having to remove material here. If I just lengthen it here, it'll make up for it just a little. So to do that, ideally I would have a rasp or a scraper. They're called to file this end here that I'm going to glue a new piece of pumpkin to. But those aren't totally necessary. I'm going to first, I know I want to place a new piece of pumpkin here to get that volume, so I'm going to cut a very flat edge. Because when I join it, that part is similar to woodworking, where you want, if I'm going to put a new piece of pumpkin on here, I want a lot of surface area to contact. So I don't want to glue a flat piece of pumpkin to a rounded carved area. I want it to, have as much surface area contact as I can. So that said, that's why I'm going to shave this right here, because that's about where I want to add the chin. So I'm going to just go straight down. Doesn't have to be perfect. You'd be surprised how forgiving this material is when it comes to blending and softening the surface. Actually, that's pretty good. Pretty flat. Now, what I need to do is take a donor chunk of pumpkin, which I'm just going to use the back side of this pumpkin. I could use the other one I've got sitting there, but this will ensure, not only do I not care because nobody's really going to see the back of this in the final product, but it'll also ensure that the pumpkin I'm adding to the front matches in color, because every pumpkin is slightly different shade too. So sometimes when you pull parts from another pumpkin to add pieces, it won't match. Sometimes that's good too, if you have a pumpkin that's got very pale flesh, and you want that effect. You want the teeth to be paler or the horns to be paler. If you've got a character like that, you can use a different shade of pumpkin to add those parts, and it looks cool. And you still have the benefit of being able to say it's 100% pumpkin, but it's been constructed and you've pulled a few different tricks out of your hat. So I'm going to cut a chunk out of the back here for this chin, which is really basic shape. There's already kind of a knob here that kind of helps me, so I'm just going to cut that out. Yeah, let's do this. And this I'm cutting out just like I would cut out an eyeball or something from a jack-o'-lantern. Sometimes I don't cut out the perfect shape the first time, and I'll have to cut a few chunks before I get the right one, but chin is such a basic shape, I should be all right. All right, so I've got my big chunk of donor pumpkin here. I'm going to just trim it clean. All these guts, you don't really want any of that. I'm going to cut that away, but I'm going to cut it away conservatively. In other words, I don't want to cut too much of this volume away. That's the meat that I'm going to be carving. I just want to cut away the shred part. So I'm just slicing that off. Now this looks silly right now, but you'll see what we're doing with this in a second. And in fact, I'm going to cut even more off because yeah, I think this will work for what I'm trying to do here. All right, so what I'm gonna do, these aren't perfectly flat. I do wish I had a rasp, but I'm gonna use this is flat, pretty flat, so I'm gonna try to get as flat of a surface here just by noodling it just a little as I can so that these really match up. All right, this works pretty well. It doesn't have to be perfect. All right, now to join these two together, It's actually very simple. Oh, I'm getting pumpkin all over my mouth. Now, one good thing about pumpkin is that super glue works really well with pumpkin flesh. Almost, I mean, if you've ever spilled super glue on your fingers and they stick together almost instantly, it's basically the same thing. Pumpkin flesh is very similar, works the same way. You wouldn't think with all this moisture that it would stick, but it sticks really well. So we use super glue to bond pieces on there when we want, and for a piece this large, I'm also going to reinforce it with some wooden dowels here, which you can use, you know, any number of, you can use toothpicks. These are chopsticks that I just sharpened right before class because I forgot to bring my actual skewers. You can use, you know, shrimp skewers, anything you need. That'll basically just serve as a sharp peg to connect the two joints. So once you've kind of got your thing blocked out where you know you want to put it and the size is good, I know that's about where I'm going to go with it. I'm also going to take this orange rind off before I attach it because that's such a rough, aggressive, you know, violent part of the carving. I don't want it to pop off when I'm doing that. So I'm going to remove that now first, just like I did in the beginning. All right. Okay, so gonna go on about like that. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna use two. This is not gonna be handled much. I don't have to make it, you know, indestructible. I'm just gonna use two sharpened pegs. Again, you could use toothpicks. If you use toothpicks, I'd use a few more than two, maybe, but you know, these should do just fine. I'm gonna cut them a little bit short. They don't have to penetrate too far into the pumpkin. My pegs are only going to be about this large. It's just to help reinforce the connection point. So I've got my two little vampire stakes, pegs here. I'm going to shove these flat end first into the connection point. And the reason for that, the reason I didn't sharpen both ends is because when I press this into place, the pressure would probably make this slide just right into the pumpkin and this wouldn't stick into this part too. So I'm leaving a flat edge here, which will give a little counter pressure when I slide this on. And I just poke it in. Again, I don't want to poke this all the way through the pumpkin either because then that counter pressure won't be there either. So I'm just shoving it in just a little here, like this. And I'm also being mindful, I'm going lower on the chin because I know I'm going to carve away here and I don't want to hit these sticks with my tools later. So I'm just inserting these like so. And then I'm just going to put a little glue. Shove it on like that and hold it for a minute. And it sticks pretty darn quick. In fact, I think the moisture helps it kick faster, helps the glue kick faster. So that's pretty much on there. That's on there pretty good. Now, if I were to go attack this with my scraper, that would come flying off, you know. So you got to be a little delicate with it at this point. And even though I was trying to be careful, I still got super glue all over myself and the table. So you got to be careful with that stage. But that is pretty much, that's how I add volume if you need to add. I would do the same thing for a nose if I needed more volume on the nose. And it works great. And most of the time you can't even tell where the chunk where the two chunks meet. Sometimes that edge just blends away. Now, instead of scraping this form down to the chin that I want with this tool, which would probably cause this to pop off, I'm going to use a knife, which is a little gentler to get to the shape I want first. It's not going to cause this thing to want to jump off just yet. And I'm just going to start shaving this and carving it just like it was part of the pumpkin from the beginning. I'm just going to start sculpting the areas that I need. And you'll see here soon it will stop looking like a chunk that I've added, and it'll look much more natural. His chin isn't that big, so. Now I also, in the process of cutting his chin off, I cut off his lower lip that I had established. This looks like a lower lip, but that's actually his lower teeth. So I need to reestablish his lower lip here real quick that I cut off. At this point, I'm going to start using a tool. Well, not right here because I don't want to, that'll come off in a big chunk, but let's go right about there. All the textures that we're going to add later will also help hide this seam. Right now it's very visible, especially from the sides, but we're going to texture this so heavily later that it's going to hide that a little bit. And really from the front you won't notice it very much anyway, even if we didn't texture it. You can see I've whittled away, the majority of the chunk that I put on there. But that's good. You want to start out with a chunk that's much larger than what you need to carve it into, because you want, you're better to err on the side of too much material than too little. So, this is, from the front, it doesn't make a huge impact, but it adds that bit of depth that I think was really missing. And I think camera 2 is probably the best example of it right now. Right here, you can see it's elongated the face, and it's brought this chin out of the shadows now, so it can catch light and really, give the dimension that I wanted here. So we'll knock that and finesse that back so it looks a little less like a added chunk here in a minute. But that's basically the gist of that. If I hit this with the scrubber again, softens up like the rest of it, and then I can begin the detailing again.